Text-to-speech has been a part of live streams for a long time, but just having a disembodied voice is boring. Wouldn't it be cool to spice it up and make it a bit more fun?
Why yes, Nick. I would absolutely love to do that. Thanks for the suggestion.
What's up everyone, I'm Nick from Techtacula and I'm going to be showing you guys how to turn your regular old text-to-speech into something a lot more fun and on-brand for your streams. Through the use of some existing plugins and a bot, I've been able to give my chat a presence on screen with Bobcat and give them a fun way to use TTS. The method I'm showing you today can be used either as a channel point redemption or a regular chat command. To get started, we need two things: the image reactions plugin and the move transition plugin. If you aren't sure how to install plugins for OBS, I made a quick and easy YouTube short on how to do that. And you can find that in the card or above or in the link in the description. And I'll of course link both of these plugins down below. Now, since we want our text-to-speech character to only react to the TTS and not any other sounds on our PC, we need to install Virtual Audio Cable. Virtual Audio Cable is a small program. It installs an extra input and output audio device on your PC and allows you to route things a bit more freely and isolate that specific audio. When you get to this screen, make sure you head to the top of the page that you're seeing here and click the Windows icon here to download the Windows version for Virtual Audio Cable. The last things to download and install are the bots. Now, there's a few bots that we can use to set the TTS character up, but the two that I'm showcasing in this video are Bikubot and MixItUp. Links to both these bots will be down below, of course, as well. They're both quite user-friendly, but Bikubot uses the Amazon TTS engine. And since Bikubot is currently in alpha, you do have to sign up to the creator's Patreon to gain access. Thankfully, it's just the same price as a Twitch sub, so it's not too much of a monthly subscription. But this small cost helps the bot provide Amazon TTS engine to absolutely everyone who uses Bikubot, which is pretty cool. MixItUp, on the other hand, is free, but it uses a different TTS engine, which personally, it sounds fine, but it is not as good. So it's up to you which one you prefer. For those of you watching that use StreamerBot, you can follow along and build the same command structure in StreamerBot as they all functionally work the same. But if you do want to see a dedicated tutorial setting this up with StreamerBot, make sure to leave a comment down below. Now, Bikubot only has one person developing it at the moment, so it hasn't been updated to version 5 of WebSocket. And WebSocket is basically the way that external programs can talk to OBS and do all sorts of cool things. So for those of you using Bikubot, you'll need to install one extra plugin. The plugin you need is WebSocket 4.9 compatibility. I'll leave the link to this down below. This is the website here. So you just want to make sure that you click the Windows zip file and install it like any other plugin. Like I said, if you need help with the plugin installation, I'll link my short down below. All right, so now that you have all those plugins installed, let's get them set up. So in OBS, we want to go to Tools up the top here, and you're going to see two different WebSocket server settings. If you're using MixItUp, you want to click the one that just says Server Settings on its own, enable WebSocket Server, have that ticked, and disable the system tray alerts. If that's ticked, uncheck that, and set a server port number. I'm going to set 5000 since this is the WebSocket Server 5, and you don't need a password, but you can. But for the server port, you can set it to whatever number you like. Okay, so then we're going to click Apply and click OK. For the Bikubot users, we're going to go back to Tools and we're going to click the Server Settings 4.x compatibility. Same thing here. Make sure enable WebSocket Server is ticked. Say that 10 times. For the server port, put whatever number you want, but just make sure that it's different to the number that you put previously. 3, 2, 1. And then you can put a password if you want, don't need it, and uncheck enable system tray alerts. Trust me, they get so annoying. Cool. Now that that's done, let's make a brand new scene. TTS character scene. Name it just like that. And I'm going to right click and add a brand new source, which there'll be a new one that you can see here called image reaction. That's what we want. TTS character source. Nice and simple name scheme. And we're going to input the images for our Bobcat that we're going to be using for this video. And for those of you that don't have any custom art that you want to use, or you want to use this cat, I'm providing it for free down below. So yeah, you have some free assets to use straight away. This awesome Bobcat art that I got commissioned just for this video, but I also have another mascot down in the files as well to offer you guys a little bit of variety. But I do recommend to get some art or get your emotes edited by your emote artist. So that way it's a bit more on brand for your channel and a bit more custom. But realistically, all you need is for the images is one that has a closed mouth and then an open mouth, because that's as simple as it needs to be. So we're going to add our images in here. So our closed mouth Bobcat and then our open mouth Bobcat. And then for the audio source and the threshold and smoothness, we'll come back to that in a minute. So we're just going to click OK. And I'm going to resize our little cat here. Now, I want him to come from the right-hand side of the screen. So we're going to right-click, transform, flip horizontal. And there we go. Now he's facing there. And we're going to shrink him down a bit. Perfect. We also want to make sure that we can move the cat on and off the screen automatically as part of the channel point redemption. So right-click on the scene, filters. Right-click, add a new filter. And it's a move source filter. And we're going to call this TTS character move in. We're going to set the custom duration to 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, which means it's going to take a second to move it onto the screen, and duplicate that filter you just made, but we're going to call it TTS character move out and click OK. We drag this window to the left, and now we're going to move our cat off the screen here like that. I'm going to scroll down in the properties of the filter and click Get Transform. This saves the location of where the cat currently is. So now, depending on which filter we activate, it'll move the cat to that location, which is pretty cool. So that's all done. We can close that. And for Bikubot users, we need to add the audio capture device. So audio output capture, just like that. And this is the virtual audio cable that we set for the TTS output settings and that installed earlier. So we're going to call this VB audio cable. And for the device, that is the one we're going to select in the list. The eyes, there we go. Cable input, there we go. Yeah, it's called cable input. Always catches me off guard. Cool. So that's added. You also want to make sure that we can hear it too. So you want to go to the volume mixer and select the 3 dots and go advanced audio properties. Now, it'll be personal preference whether you have it to monitor only or monitor and output. It depends how your audio settings are set up. But for my audio setup, I have it to monitor only. That way, there's only audio coming through once and not getting doubled up. And we'll be able to hear it when we test it too. So that is all set up and good to go. And also, in the character source properties, for the audio source, you can want to select VB audio cable if you're using Bikubot. If you're using MixItUp, we're going to be setting up the MixItUp overlay in the tutorial section over there. So that's where you would change it in here. So we're going to get started with Bikubot, but I will leave timestamps down below for those of you using MixItUp so you can jump straight to that part. Otherwise, let's get started. But the first thing we need to do is go to accounts, log in with your streamer account and your bot account. And if you don't have a separate account for a bot, streamer account works. But we need to also add the connection to OBS. So we're going to click the little plus button and I'm going to call mine OBS Portable 3. So give it a name. And we want to, for the IP address, you want to leave the local host there. You only want to change the last 4 numbers. So for the 4.x compatibility. So I set this to 4000 and I didn't have a password. Click connect. You just put in whatever you had put in. That's green. We have all green symbols at the bottom. Means we're all connected and ready to go. Now we're going to go to the modules section and also going to click the cable input here. So this is the bot will output any text-to-speech only to this specific audio device. So that way, our source inside OBS will only react to audio coming from this device. And then you want to click the save button on the right-hand side. Now let's go up to points, click the plus button, make a new point. And I'm going to set the use queue to none and give your redemption a name and a cost to whatever you like. We do need to tick require user input because we want them to put a message in to read out. And then we do want to have a cooldown as well. So I recommend a minimum of 5 minutes because this allows the bot to fully process the action and all the TTS, but also not have it spammed or get too annoying. And give it a description as well if you'd like. And the first thing we need to do is click the OBS on the right-hand side. And we want to change this to filter visibility. We select our character scene and select our move-in source. So this is going to move our cat onto the screen. We can add a little pause action here. Tell it to wait a second. and click the TTS module, and that adds the TTS. Now, by default, it's set to user message, which is what we want. It's going to pull the user's message and read it out. You can select a whole bunch of voices as well in different accents and languages, which is really cool. You can set the volume, and you want to make sure that this is set to pause. So it'll read all the TTS before it continues with the next action. And to finish off this command, we add another OBS module, filter visibility, select our scene, and the filter we select is the move out filter. It reads it out and boots the cat off the screen just like that. Cool, so now it's time to set up MixItUp. So once you go through all that new user installation wizard that MixItUp has, you actually need to go to your Twitch dashboard, go to viewer rewards, channel points, and I'm gonna make a brand new channel point. So add new custom reward, and we're just gonna call this TTS, and just gonna make the cost 1, but set the cost and cooldown to whatever you like. The important thing here is we need to make sure that require viewer to enter text is on, because we want to pull from the viewer's messages. Once you've done that, now we can go into MixItUp, and we're just going to go to this little cogwheel on the top right hand corner, and just want to double check some things. One, make sure default streaming platform is Twitch, default streaming software is OBS Studio, and the default audio output, you actually want to make it the MixItUp overlay. And then we're going to come back and come over to this burger menu over here. So we're going to click services here down at the bottom, and you'll be greeted with this page here. So a couple things we need to do. The first thing is we need to get the overlay set up, the MixItUp overlay set up in OBS. So the first thing, you need to click this little link that's right here. When you click that, it'll bring up your browser, and you want to go to the URL and Control X to cut that, and you can just close that, minimize, and then come into your OBS. And we're going in this TTS character scene here. We're going to right click to add a new source, go to browser, and just going to leave it as browser for now. Click OK, and that way we can just make sure we paste this overlay in here. And we're going to change the resolution to 1920 and the height to 1080. We also need to click Control Audio via OBS. And this little checkbox here, refresh browser when scene becomes active. Control audio and refresh browser, very important that both of these things are checked inside this browser source. Then we're just going to click OK and bring up MixItUp, and you'll see here the source name, MixItUp _ You just want to highlight that, Control C to copy, come back into OBS, and now you can right click on that browser source, rename, Control V to paste, and there we go. So the MixItUp overlay is set up, and it's all good to go with MixItUp. So if we click test connection, cool, yep, overlay connection test successful, great. Well, that's step 1 done. Step 2, you want to come to where it says OBS Studio, and you want to change this IP address. So where we set up the WebSockets before, so MixItUp works with WebSocket 5, so I set mine up for 5,000. And we're just going to come in here and then click connect, and it should say, woo, connection successful. Great, that's what we want. Also, I just want to point out, I know I'm wearing different clothes, but I'll explain why I'm re-recording this little part in a bit. Now that we've got those connected, we can actually come over to action groups here, and I'm going to make a new action group, call this TTS action, but whatever you like, and we're just going to make a command group called TTS, and click this unlock command tab, so that way this doesn't hold up anything else that MixItUp's doing. And then we're going to go to the little action bar down at the bottom and find the one called streaming software. We're going to click the little plus button, and where it says default setting, click OBS Studio, and then where the action that says scene, we want to click that and come down to source filter visibility. So what is our source name? Well, we can pull filters from scenes or sources, and right now our scene is called TTS character because that scene has the filter that we want to find. So we're going to write TTS character in that source name box there, and MixItUp is strict about capitalization, so make sure that it's spelled correctly, there's no extra spaces, and everything's capitalized where it needs to be. And then the filter name, well, we can come right click on the TTS character scene, click filters, and we can see here it's TTS character move in. Cool. So that's what we write. TTS character move in. And then we want to make sure we tick the little thing that says visible because we want to turn this filter on. Command moves our character into the scene. It waits a second. And once it's done that, we're going to come back down here and then we're going to find text to speech because then it'll start talking. So for the voice, you do have a bunch of different accents and also languages in here, which is fantastic. But we're going to choose English. So scroll all the way to the bottom and we're just going to click US English Male here. And for speech message, we need to pull from the command or the redemption that's being used. So to do that, we type $ all args, just like that. So that tells MixItUp, hey, take everything that was put after that command or that in that channel point redemption and put it in here. The next thing we need to do is we need to tell MixItUp to wait until the text-to-speech is finished. Now, unfortunately, we can't just, it doesn't fully know when the text-to-speech is finished, so we have to sort of manually tell it how long to wait. And there's a bit of a workaround that we do for that, and shout out to one of the developers in the MixItUp Discord for helping me out with this. So we're going to come down to action. I'm going to zoom in here to make sure you guys can see this properly. We can come down to the action here, and then we're going to add another wait command and click the plus to add it in. And this is really important. We're going to use a variable here called $arg count. This variable is how many words are in the message. And then we're going to use an asterisk, which is to multiply, and then we're going to multiply it by 0.4. So we're taking the total words in the message. For argument's sake, let's say it's 23 times by 0.4. That result is how long MixItUp is going to wait with this command. And so 0.4 is kind of an estimation of how long it takes to say a word. And then essentially kind of that's the sort of workaround result that by the time that finishes is going to be sort of lined up. And then we can continue with the rest of the action. So we've added that wait. And then now we can come up to the top here where we added the filter. We're going to just duplicate that and it'll come down to the bottom. And we're just going to change move in to move out because that's what the other filter is called here, TTS character move out. So we want to make sure that we hit save to save that action group right there. And MixItUp's going to take a second and it saved it. So now it's in that command group that we made called TTS action. Now, so if you're making just a regular chat command, then you just come into the commands tab on the left here and you just make a new command. And the action that you tell it to make is a command inside the command. The command type is action group, and then the command that we want it to run is TTS action. So that's what you do if you're running it as a chat command. And so we're just going to exit out of that because we're making a channel point redemption. So Twitch channel points on the left in the little the menu on the left here. Now we already made that the channel point redemption earlier. So we're going to add command to existing reward. I'm going to click that and it's going to give us the list of all of our channel point redemptions. We called it TTS, so we're going to click that one there. Command group, we're going to add it to that TTS command group that we made earlier, and we're going to make sure that unlock command is checked. So just like before, go to the little action selector and scroll to find command, click the plus button. The command type is action group, and we want to run command, and the command we want to run is TTS action. Sweet. Now that that's all set up, we actually have to come back into OBS, click on our TTS character source, right click, go to properties, and the audio source that we need to choose is MixItUp overlay. Very important. Forgot to point that out earlier. So for MixItUp, you would choose the MixItUp overlay. If you're using Bikubot or something else, it'd be that audio output capture that we set up. But yeah, MixItUp overlay, make sure you select that in the audio source selector in the TTS character source. All right, time to test the TTS. Now, process is going to be the same for either bot, but in Bikubot, we're going to duplicate the text-to-speech module just here, and then click custom message. On MixItUp, same thing, click the duplicate button, which will bring another one down here, and we're just going to get rid of the little $all args that we put there. So we're just making separate modules just to make sure we don't mess anything up in the original modules, and once we finish testing, we can delete them afterwards. So we also obviously need some text to input to test this. So my solution was to use the transcript from Fellowship of the Ring. Listen, You can use whatever you like, but I feel like this works pretty well. And I'll leave a link to this website down below that has the transcript, but we're just going to copy this and paste it in Bikubot here. So as I mentioned, either way, it's going to work the same thing. Both have a play button for testing the TTS, but I'm just going to use Bikubot for the tutorial example. When we get into OBS, just double check as well that you guys have the audio properties set up correctly for the devices. So for the MixItUp overlay and the audio cable, you want to click the 3 dots, go to Advanced Audio Properties, and make sure that the monitoring is set up correctly. So that way, we make sure that you can hear it and the stream can hear it. Awesome. Now we're going to go into the properties of our TTS character source, and we've got it set up to VB audio cable because it's coming through Bikubot. And as our character talks, we're going to be messing with the threshold and the smoothness to get the mouth flaps just right. So let's click play and start doing it.
It began with the forging of the great rings.
Ah, the great rings.
3 were given.
It's looking good. So as you increase the reaction threshold, because it starts in minus. So basically, this is how sensitive it is. I'm finding like around getting close to the 30 mark was really good. I found the smoothness of 60 worked pretty well there because it made it nice and snappy, which is what you want. We're going to click play again and fine tune it a little bit more.
But they were all of them deceived, for another ring was made.
Yep, that's looking good. Yeah, I think 31 is perfect here for me. And yeah, you could definitely use my numbers here as a bit of a starting guide and then kind of fine tune from there. But apart from that, the TTS is working great. We've fine tuned the settings. We're good to go. There you have it. You now have a really cool TTS character set up for your streams. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and spank that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, plus reviews on tech for gamers and creators, hit subscribe and ring that bell. All of that really helps out this video and the channel overall, so thank you so much for watching. My name is Nick, this is Techtacula, you've been spectacular, see you next time.